You're watching Vihaba News. This is our series of providing the latest updated news on the agricultural sector, not just in Vietnam but also in the world. Here are the headlines today. The first part concerning the global agricultural market. Facing the difficulties of the pandemic situation, many countries have taken specific actions to promote their business activities, especially when the global agricultural market is facing many opportunities and challenges. China has imposed strict restrictions on its borders and ports to prevent COVID-19 from entering the country, causing difficulties for Southeast Asian exporters. Besides, the situation of global agricultural product import and export is gradually recovering in some countries, such as Ukraine, Japan, and Vietnam. The second part concerning Vietnam's agricultural market. Vietnam's agricultural export have reached the milestone and continue to reach the target of 47 billion USD. Export to the US and Europe are also focused on developing. The first news of the global agricultural market. Southeast Asian exporters are suffering from China's border closures. Exporters from Myanmar, Laos, and Vietnam are in dire straits after China recently closed its borders to prevent the spread of COVID-19, resulting in long lines of trucks loaded with goods now at risk of deterioration. The second news, Ukraine's imports of agricultural products grow by 22% this year. Contrary to the difficulties of Southeast Asian countries, Ukraine's agricultural import and export have positive signs, increasing by 22% this year. The third news, Japan promotes agricultural and food exports. The Japanese government will adopt a new strategy to promote the export of agricultural and food products with the goal of raising the export value from 44 billion USD by 2030. The second part concerning the Vietnamese agricultural products. Vietnam's agricultural export aim to reach 47 billion USD. According to the forecast of Vietnam Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, the export value in 2021 will reach 47 billion USD, the highest in history. The second news, the US is the largest import market for Vietnamese agricultural products. In the 10 months of 2021, the US is the largest export market of Vietnam's agricultural and forestry and fishery products. Vietnam's agricultural export to the US reached 10.8 billion USD, accounting for 27.9% of the export market share. The third news, Vietnam promotes export of key agricultural products to the EU. The European Union is one of the leading export markets for Vietnam's agricultural products. The control of the COVID-19 pandemic created excellent opportunities for Vietnamese enterprises to boost the export of key agricultural products. The first news of the global agricultural market. The COVID-19 pandemic is still complicated in many countries, making the calculation of goods difficult, especially for agricultural products with a low shelf life. Southeast Asian exporters are suffering from China's border closures, resulting in long lines of trucks loaded with goods now at risk of deterioration. In addition to difficulties, the global agricultural market also has encouraging signs of import and export turnover in many countries, including Ukraine and Japan. The first news, Southeast Asian exporters suffer from China's border closures. Exporters from Myanmar, Laos and Vietnam are in dire straits after China recently closed its borders to prevent the spread of COVID-19, resulting in long lines of trucks loaded with goods now at risk of deterioration. China has imposed strict restrictions on its borders and ports to prevent COVID-19 from entering the country after several more small towns on its outskirts have suffered pandemics in the past 3 months. Chinese state media reported on Wednesday that authorities in Dong Sinh Town, a region across the Vietnamese border, orders residents to stay at home and postponed the clearance of goods through its port of entry after discovering a case of COVID-19 during routine testing. The report says urgent freight exports and imports must be properly planned to avoid losses due to waiting. Traders in Myanmar said exporters suffered significant losses at the borders as China tightens restrictions again less than a month after trade resumed after a 5 months shutdown due to COVID-19. The second news, Ukraine's imports of agricultural products grew by 22% this year. Contrary to the difficulties of Southeast Asian countries, Ukraine's agricultural import and export have positive signs, increasing by 22% this year. According to the official data of the State Customs Service, the foreign trade turnover of agricultural products and foodstuff over the first 11 months of this year increased by 22% compared to 2020 and reached about 31.3 billion USD, accounting for 24.7% of Ukraine's total foreign trade turnover of goods, in which the export of agricultural products reached 24.4 billion USD, accounting for 39.8% of the total export turnover of goods from Ukraine. Ukraine's major agricultural and food export in January to November 2021 remained grains, oils, oilseeds, oilcake, solid residues, and the extraction of vegetable fats and oils. According to the ministry, the main importers of Ukraine agri-food products were China, 50.4% of the structural export of agricultural products and foodstuff, India 6.5%, and the Netherlands 6.4%, Egypt 5.9%, and Turkey 4.8%. In January to November 2021, imports of agricultural products and foodstuffs increased by 20% compared to the corresponding period of 2020 and amounted to 6.9 billion or 10.5% of total imports of goods to Ukraine. The major agricultural products and food imports were fruits, nuts, peel, fish, and other products as well. Ukraine mainly imported agricultural products and foodstuff from Poland 10.5%, Germany 6.9%, Italy 6.9%, Turkey 6.1%, and Indonesia 4.3%. The third news, Japan promotes agriculture and food export. Not only Ukraine, Japan is also increasing its export activities. The Japanese government will adopt a new strategy to promote the export of agricultural and food products with the goal of raising the export value to about 44 billion USD by 2030, in which 5 times higher than the current export turnover. According to the Sankei newspaper, it is estimated that in 2021, Japan's agriculture and food export turnover will grow again and exceed the milestone of 8.8 billion USD per year. However, the value of Japan's agricultural and food export only accounts for about 2% of production value and lower than the large developed countries such as United States and France. The Japanese government will continue to promote export of these agricultural products with the adoption of new export strategy. The goal is to increase the export turnover of agricultural products and food by 2 times by 2025 and 5 times, reaching 44 billion USD by 2030 compared to the present. To achieve the goal, the Japanese government will establish a unified production and distribution mechanism for each item and amend the law to facilitate the expansion of export markets. Japan is expected to set up representative offices for export of agricultural and food products at the Trade Promotion Organization and Japan's diplomatic missions in other countries. Priority is given to establishing offices in the US market and European countries. The second part concerning Vietnam agricultural market. Despite being heavily affected by the pandemic as well as disruptions in the global supply chain, Vietnam still recorded strong growth. Vietnam's agricultural exports have reached the milestone and continue to reach the target of 47 billion USD. The US has become the largest import market for Vietnamese agricultural products. In addition, Vietnam is trying to promote the export of key agricultural products to the EU market. The first news, Vietnam's agricultural export aim to reach 47 billion USD. According to the forecast of Vietnam's Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, the export value in 2021 will reach 47 billion USD, the highest in history. In the first 11 months of 2021, Vietnam's agricultural exports have reached the target, reaching 43.5 billion USD. In November, the export value of agricultural, forestry and fishery products reached more than 4.1 billion USD. If the growth momentum continues like this month in 2021, it will reach over 47 billion USD. Contributing to the above results, the cropping sector reached 19.3 billion USD, up 30.7%, in which coffee, cashew, pepper, rubber, rice, cassava increased. Despite the complicated situation of the COVID-19 pandemic, difficulties in saltwater intrusion, limited processing and warehousing infrastructure, and low investment in agriculture, Vietnam's agricultural exports still had positive results. To get the above results, in addition to making good use of 14 trade agreements between Vietnam and countries around the world, the agricultural industry has actively and flexibly adapted to the development of COVID-19 pandemic, maintaining production to ensure an abundant supply for domestic consumption and export. In addition, Vietnam also focuses on trade promotion, diversifying forms of e-commerce. The ministry continues to negotiate to expand markets, especially markets with high proportion of exports such as the US and China. The second news, the US is the largest import market for Vietnamese agricultural products. Along with that, the export of agricultural products from Vietnam to the US also grew strongly. According to the Ministry of Industry and Trade of Vietnam, in the 10 months of 2021, the US is the largest export market of Vietnam's agricultural, forestry and fishery products. Vietnam's agricultural exports to the US reached 10.8 billion USD, accounting for 27.9% of the export market share. In general, the total export turnover of all goods from Vietnam to the US in 10 months reached 76 billion USD, up 21.9% over the same period last year. Export of agricultural products to the US has reached over 10.8 billion USD, accounting for 27.9% of market share, in which the export turnover of food products accounted for 68.4% of the export turnover. Similarly, the US also surpassed Cambodia to become the largest export of market of agricultural products to Vietnam, reaching nearly 3.3 billion USD, accounting for 9.2% of the market share. According to industry experts, thanks to the control of the pandemic and the reopening of activities, the US becomes a potential market for Vietnamese agricultural exports. Some Vietnamese products have strengths and US need to import to meet domestic consumption such as vegetables, fruits, coffee, tea, paper, rubber, cashew nut, and seafood. If technical barriers can be overcome, export to the US will continue to grow strongly in the coming time. The third news, Vietnam promotes export of key agricultural products to the US. Besides the US, the European Union is also one of the leading export markets for Vietnam's agricultural products. The import demand of this market has also begun to increase rapidly because of the control of the COVID-19 pandemic, creating excellent opportunities for Vietnamese enterprises to boost the export of key agricultural products. According to the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development of Vietnam, in the first 10 months of 2021, the export value of Vietnam's agricultural products to markets in Europe accounted for 11.4% of the total market share, with diverse products such as coffee, cashew nuts, and rice. The EU is Vietnam's largest coffee consumption market, accounting for nearly 40% of Vietnam's total volume and 37% of total export turnover. Vietnam's coffee export turnover to the EU has remained at $1.2 to $1.4 billion per year over the past 5 years. With advantages from the EVFTA, Vietnamese coffee products can increase export to the EU market in the near future. In addition, Buôn Ma Thuột coffee is also one of the 39 geographical indications of Vietnam that the EU committed to protect since the EVFTA officially came into effect. The EU is a major export market for Vietnamese agricultural and aquatic products. However, the output and export value of most products remain low, not commensurate with the market capacity and trade relation between Vietnam and the EU. In addition to quality issues in line with consumer taste, food safety and hygiene are factors outside the product, such as environmental protection and labor, are also very concerned in the EU. To take advantage of market opportunities, Vietnamese business need to pay attention to this. That is this for Vihaba News here on Vihaba channel. Do stay with us because we will have many upcoming weekly news on the agriculture sector. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to find more news. Thank you for watching Vihaba News. See you soon. Bye.